Okay, I ask you forgive my relative exhaustion, but I finally stopped for a few moments flying and driving and have some time to actually address some questions that I've got from friends of mine back in Indiana and really around the world who've asked me about what's happening in Indiana right now and kind of my, I guess, potentially volatile reactions I've had on Facebook and other places the last couple of days. I guess where I'm at right now is I'm really frustrated because this isn't an issue. This shouldn't be an issue. And the fact that it is an issue is purely a matter of the simple-mindedness of those of the Christian faith who follow that line of thinking. I know very good Christian people, and I'm not picking on you. It's the ones who are going down this line that are really making me nuts. What I'm referring to is the House Bill 101. It's the religious freedom bill that just passed in Indiana, and Governor Mike Pence is going to sign in a secret ceremony away from everybody else so they can't see that he's a cowardly fucktard who can't face his people when he signs it because he knows it's going to make things bad for people. In talking to some of my friends, one of the things I heard from them is, Greg, you don't understand. What about the baker who lost her job and lost her business and got sued because she wouldn't make a wedding cake for the faggots? What about the wedding photographer who God says fags are bad, so she didn't want to do a wedding for them. She didn't want to be a part of the celebration. And I guess here's my thought on this. I'm a paramedic. I've been in EMS since 1996. I think back to one night about 2 years ago, 3 years ago maybe, I got called into a house, and we literally walked in the door to find a 47-year-old Caucasian male, 6 inches deep, and a 4-year-old African-American female. Now, when he saw us come to the door, realizing what he's doing is probably not a good thing, he pulled a weapon on us. At that point in time, he fired on the officers. He fired to kill me. He tried to kill this monkey. And the officers I was with shot back and nearly fatally wounded him. At that point in time, I spent the next 45 minutes doing everything within my power, my experience, my knowledge, my education, my expertise, my training to keep this son of a bitch alive. Because that's my job. I'm a paramedic. My job is to keep people alive when they get hurt or they get sick. That's just what I do. I guess, for lack of a better way to put it, that's my cake to bake. Now, I promise you, there's not a Christian on this planet that hates faggots any more than I hated that man in that situation. Number one, he's screwing a 4-year-old girl. Number two, he shot at me. The son of a bitch tried to kill me. Dead. Kill me. And now I'm spending the next 45 minutes trying to save his life after, I was protected by my brothers in blue who took care of me. After that was all said and done, he did survive. He walked out of the hospital about 2.5 months later. And I remember sitting with a crusty old paramedic I'd worked with for years and said, I hate myself for this. I could have let him die in a heartbeat. I could have faked it. They made it look really good and he would have never survived. But I actually kept this man alive to potentially do this again. He ultimately went to jail, and I assume we'll never do this again, assuming he stays there. And this crusty old paramedic I looked at said, Greg, maybe you need to think about a career change. And I said, why? I've been doing this my whole life. He says, we are called to do a job. We don't have to like those people. We don't have to want to serve those people. We don't have to care about those people. Your job is to get in there, to start your IVs, to do your chest tube, to do your central lines, to give your blood, to give your drugs, to get this guy stable. That's it. And what do you get for doing that job? The satisfaction of knowing you helped a child molester that tried to kill you? No. Hell no, you don't get that. What you get is a paycheck at the end of the day. And that paycheck goes into your checking account, and that checking account pays your car payment, in which you and your now ex-partner drive around in. And then you go and you buy food to eat, and then you go on vacations and do things. That's why you do this job. No matter how philosophically or ethically or morally or religiously you're against what this son of a bitch was doing, your job is to stabilize, treat, and attempt to keep alive this guy. That's what you do. That's your fucking cake to bake. Here's where my issue is. I'm having a sad because I'm a baker and I don't want to bake a cake for a couple faggots. Well then, Don't bake cakes. But Christ says, I don't give a fuck what Christ says. Jesus does not come into this conversation. You can go to your church, or you can go to your home, or you can do whatever you've got to do to worship your God. Jesus, Allah, Buddha, whatever you worship. I don't care. I'm an agnostic, apathetic person. I don't give a shit what you believe in. I really don't. My issue is this. When you bring that into your transactional life, if I have a cake made for my wedding for me and my someday future husband, I hope, I'm saying I want to give you money to do the job you're trained to do. I don't give a shit what you think. I don't give a shit what you believe. I don't give a fuck who you pray to. It doesn't matter. I'm going to hand you a lot of cash, and you're going to hand me a lot of cake. That's all it is. That's simply all there is to it. When you have to have religious freedom bills to say, I can't be mad because you didn't do your job, and you lost your job because I went and told all my faggot friends that you're a bigot, and you decided to let Jesus control your business instead of, the need to feed your family because you're stupid, and they all boycott you, and then suddenly your business closes, and you're sad, and you blame the faggots because we don't respect your religion. No, we think you're stupid. All we ask is, you're trained to bake a cake, I give you money, you bake me a cake. The end. That's all. You don't need religious freedom bills that say, I can't have somebody get mad at me because I'm an idiot. Just don't be an idiot. If you don't want to bake a cake for a faggot, maybe you shouldn't be a cake baker. If you don't want to be a photographer at a wedding, maybe you shouldn't be a photographer who advertises for weddings. It's that simple. And if you decide you don't want to take the job, just say, hey, I don't want to do it because I'm an idiot, and I believe this or I believe that. But don't be pissed off when we come back and go, you're a bigot. Because you're a bigot and you're an idiot. To me, I don't care if you're a bigot. You can believe what you want to believe. I think you're an idiot, and that's a bigger sin to me. Because if you want to feed your family, you got to put all that shit behind you. Just like I do. In my career, there have been probably thousands of occurrences where the drunk driver mowed down the family, where the guy beat the hell out of his kid, the guy beat the hell out of his wife, the wife beat the hell out of the kid, the uncle raped the daughter, the niece. I've seen over and over and over and over and over the guy who shot the cop, the guy who shot the fireman, and I've got to go in there and bake their fucking cake. Pull your head out of your ass. You wouldn't need these bills if you just do your job. And why are these bills a problem? Because they tell the 17-year-old kid who called me last night saying, I grew up in Indiana. My entire family's been on this farm my entire life. I want to spend my whole life here. But I'm a young gay man of 17 years, and my state will never accept me. And every time I turn on the TV, I hear some minister saying, I'm an abomination. I'll burn in hell. Let's put them all in a fenced-in, electric fence area until they eat each other or die. Let's give them all the HIV. Let's give them all AIDS and let them die off. Or in California, for God's sakes, let's write a bill in the legislation that says we can shoot the faggot. Come on. That's what's harmful about these bills. You're not protecting the right of the store and business owners. They should do that to themselves by just doing the fucking job or not having that job. What's happening is all the kids, all the adults who are told you're a second-class citizen because you're a second-class citizen, we don't want to make a cake for you. And we got to make such a big deal out of it. So when my 6-year-old nephew is sitting there watching the TV and he goes, Uncle Greg, aren't you one of those guys who has a guy? What they'd have. And I go, yes. And he goes, why won't they bake cakes for you? And I've got to say, because they're a Christian bigot, because they're stupid. And he goes, but I don't understand. I love you. I accept you. I think you're great. You're the most awesome uncle I've got. The only one subsequently, but the most awesome uncle I've got. Why don't they like you? That's hard to explain to a 6 or 7-year-old. And God forbid, in 10 years, maybe less, he comes out to me and says, Uncle Greg, I'm a little cocksucker. And nobody accepts me and nobody loves me, so I should just kill myself like this other kid did last night. That's what's wrong with these bills. It constantly throws it in the face. You're a second-class citizen. You're not worthy. You're not whatever. I have before and will again stand in front of your church and act as a human guard to protect you while you stand in there and pray to whatever the fuck it is you believe is up there. All I ask is you keep it the fuck inside there, or take it home and spend your time with it there. But we have a legal separation of church and state written into the United States Constitution for a reason. Can we honor that? I'm not coming into your house and saying, watch me suck some boy's dick. My lesbian friends aren't saying, watch us lick each other. All we're saying is, let us live our lives and you live your life. Stop with these bills. Stop with this legislation, this rubbing it in the face of everyone else that, they're not good enough. They're not accepted. Come on. It doesn't affect me. I'll go to another baker. I'll tell everybody, piss off. Don't use this business. You'll close. It's your issue. I'll go to another baker. What worries me are those little kids. I've seen too many little kids die because they just felt like they weren't good enough. And who do they go to? The clergy? There's the problem. Their mom and dad who listen to the clergy? There's the problem. When does it change? When does it stop? It has to stop now. It has to change now.